Ayn Rand built a legacy on the idea of radical self-reliance, on the superiority of the individual over the collective, and on a philosophy that championed those strong enough to carve out their own destinies. She was the high priestess of objectivism, a movement that rejected altruism as weakness and worshipped the so-called makers of society. But the deeper you look at Rand's life, the more the cracks begin to show. She wasn't the warrior she presented herself to be. She was a paper Spartan, a philosopher who preached ironclad principles but failed to embody them in her own life. She glorified independence, yet relied on the very systems she despised. She demonized government assistance, yet accepted Social Security and Medicare in her old age. She demanded loyalty to her philosophy, yet exiled those who questioned her. And perhaps most tellingly, she celebrated reason and logic, yet her own personal life was riddled with hypocrisy, manipulation, and contradiction. Rand's core philosophy was built around the idea that altruism is evil, that true greatness comes from a singular, uncompromising pursuit of one's own happiness and productivity. Her novels, The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, portray protagonists who refuse to bow to the demands of others, who exist as islands of genius in a sea of mediocrity. The Spartan Mindset, too, respects resilience, discipline, and the refusal to compromise values in the face of opposition. But here's the key difference. Spartans did not reject community. They built it. They understood that strength wasn't just about individual achievement. It was about loyalty, duty, and shared sacrifice. Rand's worldview, by contrast, was inherently selfish, blind to the reality that even the strongest warriors rely on a code of honor, on relationships, on a society that functions beyond just personal gain. Her contradictions didn't stop at ideology. Rand spent her life promoting unshakable, rational objectivity. Yet her personal relationships were riddled with emotional chaos. She demanded absolute loyalty from those in her inner circle, expelling former allies the moment they deviated from her doctrine. She championed the free market, but spent her final years benefiting from the very government programs she condemned. In one of the most ironic turns of her life, she railed against welfare and government dependency, yet quietly signed up for Social Security and Medicare under her married name, Alice O'Connor, to avoid public scrutiny. A true Spartan would have either lived by their creed or had the courage to admit they were wrong. Rand did neither. Beyond her personal inconsistencies, the real flaw in Rand's worldview is that it simply doesn't work. The idea that the world belongs only to an elite class of producers, while everyone else is a parasite, is a fantasy detached from the reality of human existence. Societies are built on interdependence. Warriors do not fight alone. Even the most brilliant minds rely on the labor, support, and contributions of others. The Spartans, despite their legendary toughness, knew that a soldier was nothing without his phalanx, that even the greatest warrior was useless without his comrades beside him. Rand's ideology, on the other hand, promotes a delusion of absolute self-sufficiency, one that collapses the moment reality kicks in. No empire has ever been built on selfishness. No great leader has ever succeeded alone. And yet, Rand's influence endures. Her books continue to sell. Her philosophy continues to be championed by billionaires and politicians who cherry-pick the parts that justify their own greed. Figures like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk praise her ideas, while benefiting from state-funded infrastructure, government subsidies, and taxpayer bailouts. The people who worship Rand are often those who have never had to fight alone, who have built their wealth on the backs of others while pretending they did it all themselves. This is the great irony of objectivism. It is most appealing to those who already have an army behind them but want to believe they don't need one. Ayn Rand was not a Spartan. She was not a warrior. She was not the embodiment of strength she claimed to be. The Spartan mindset is built on honor, consistency, and discipline, not just in words, but in actions. Rand, for all her rhetoric, lived a life of contradiction, demanding loyalty while betraying her own principles. She is proof that talking about strength is not the same as having it. Order the Spartan mindset today, and take the first step toward becoming the leader your world needs. Let your struggles forge you into a warrior of character and resolve. The Spartan Mindset provides all this and more in an original, comprehensive, and actionable guide. Available now for just $19.99. Buy your copy from the links in the description box below and on this channel's homepage, because your future begins with the right mindset. The Spartan Mindset.